Welcome to the Art of Succession podcast with Barrett Young. Join us as we explore the strategies, stories, and insights that shape the journey of leadership transitions and business success. No matter where you find yourself along the journey, this is the podcast where you'll find the tools to make it happen.
If you're like most of our listeners, you love the idea of running the show, but you're constantly second-guessing yourself if you're ready or the person for the job. Are you missing a key skill? Are you aware of the things you need to know, like reading a financial statement or financing the operations of a business? We are here to solve that for you. Our new free Ownership Readiness Diagnostic will rank you from 1 to 4 on 5 foundational pillars of successful business ownership. It is the ultimate confidence builder that will tell you, yes, it is time to have that conversation, or no, these are the areas that you might need a little bit more time to develop. If you're interested in taking that assessment, you can find the link for that down in the description below. Welcome back to part 2 of my discussion with Ori Elraviv. If you're interested in part 1 of our discussion, where we start to see Ori's role as a turnaround executive develop, you can find that episode right here. Otherwise, let's get back to our episode. How do you get up to speed as a new executive in something that this big, moving this fast, acquiring other companies? You get in there and you see how the clock works. But I mean, specifically, who are you talking to? What are you looking for? Because so much of it is like, well, this has never existed before. We can't just say what worked in 2005 is going to work in 2015. It's changing as you're learning how it's done also. So who are you talking to? How are you learning?
Let's go to any business, right? My approach to any business that you would go, it doesn't really matter, digital or whatever it is, right? And you got to be able to learn how the business operates. That's my style, right? It's about operating. It's about understanding, first of all, how does it operate, right? There's the P&L, the profit and loss. It's not only an Excel sheet. You want to understand what's behind the Excel sheet. It's not about just plugging in numbers. How are those being created? What are the dependencies? What are the forces that are being that? And then you go on also the expenses kind of side. What are the expenses? What are we spending things on? What is required in order to generate kind of the revenue? What is the trend? That's the inside. Then the people that kind of operate it, then you go outside to the market and the market trends and where are we inside of all of it. I think that's kind of the fundamentals of it. In many ways, businesses operate on a very similar kind of basis. Eventually, everything is about, you're generating money and there are certain kind of expenses to it. And there's a certain kind of sales, marketing, business kind of cycles to all of it, right? So understanding the fundamentals of the business is what's key in here. And once you understand the fundamentals of where it is, what's happened, what works, what doesn't, then you need to deduct from it your next step. All right. You want to be able to get, all right, like this is the direction that we're going into. My style is a direction. And I told, again, I'm not the VC. How do we get to 100x? It's less my style. I want to know, all right, like what is our next logical step? Where do we want to go? The logical steps has to comprise by your current status and capabilities, the market realities, as well as who do you have to work with and the ambition and appetite of the people behind it. Like, so for example, it is great if someone was like, yeah, I want to do this, but if they don't have the appetite, the intention and the integrity or, just the will to do it.
Follow through. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, like they're just saying things, there's no point. Let's connect the dots between the capabilities, the situation, the market, and the will and desires of the people around it. Then paints the picture of the next steps and what's possible and what's not possible. I really like working as a yearly kind of roadmap. That's the priorities and kind of goals. And I don't get too obsessed over it, but I want to be able to know the direction. Then I like it that I have, how does those kind of break down into quarters? That's something that really helps me because it helps define for me and the team what is important, what is not important. What is it that we say, like if we want to go there, what does that mean for us now? That's what it's supposed to picture for you. But again, it's an evolution. It didn't really happen to me overnight. It's just over time, as experience kind of grew, this is sort of like what I've learned that works for me.
One of the challenges I have with coming into broken situations, so I want to pick your brain on this as a turnaround artist, when you're identifying what makes the business run, how do you know this is the reason it's broken versus no, this is necessary in this context is just different from what I've seen before. So, surface level, example, a Silicon Valley company, the whole idea of like the ping pong tables and the cafeteria and the massage chairs and everything like that. Somebody coming in and not used to that culture could be like, well, this is waste. It's, it kills the bottom line of the company. Whereas somebody in the company could say, no, this spurs creativity. And so this is essential here. When a company is broken like that and you're getting down to the nuts and bolts of what makes it run, how do you identify what's broken and what's not in that situation? Does that make sense?
I'm not stepping into situations where the problem is that they're playing too much ping pong, but in the companies that I had, we had a ping pong table at some point.
You have like overpaid people, or you have excess benefits, or you have things from a P&L standpoint that's like, we're paying way more than normal for this. But then you find out, no, that's purposeful. That's part of what makes the company successful. And if you cut it, you rip out the engine.
I'm not sure there is an easy answer, okay? Because there's your style on what you believe. So, for example, you could be a scenarios that in the company that you kind of go in and operate, a certain kind of thing cost, whatever, 2x of what you saw experience in a different kind of thing that cost. And to you, it's like, well, I just don't get why it all costs that much more. We've ran into those kind of things where in sites that we acquired, even the little media kind of side, we saw that the OPEX or the cost of operating the company as opposed to what it produces did not make sense to us. Like we could not understand how those people with that kind of thing produced this. Like it just did not make sense. Okay. And the only logical kind of thing for us to say was that, well, either they're things like that, you go down to your logic. All right. If things cost you way more, then there are several reasons. One, you pay a lot to a person that produces X, or the stuff that you produced X is a way higher quality than what it is, and it's just more expensive to produce it. There is, people just either, the amount of time invested into it doesn't really occupy kind of that space, where people, it's ineffective, or they're tired and unmotivated or something like that, right? You have to understand what are the reasons that things go on. And it's not a right and wrong, but sometimes it really stares you in the face. Like definitely when it comes to your style, like in this style, in the way that you operate, like this just doesn't add up. I think a lot of times in the situations that the company is maybe stagnant or whatever it is, then the people are tired, then people that are in it are tired and not motivated and so on. You can't blame them. It's you can't, it's the energy inside of the company, and it's not their fault, and the situation, can you change it or can you not? Sometimes you pay for something for an equal quality, you pay too much. And then it also is, then you run into the issue of, well, who says this is equal quality? Like one say, like, this is better. One says it's like, no, this is not better. Who is right? And, it's probably no right answer to it, because there is just, that's my opinion, that this is just, I don't really see the difference. You created these two things, and I think content is a very good example of it. What makes this content better than this content? Like what makes it better? And a lot of it is opinion. And I think it's a very tough one, because there's going to be people who went through journalism kind of schools, and they're very proud of what they do, and they're amazing kind of people. And what they ended up kind of do versus someone that, I don't know, you found in a different kind of country and so on. And, I don't know, for the average Joe, I don't know if this is better than the other. At the end of the day, it's a challenge, and I think navigating it is not necessarily an easy thing, but I think you have to go with your truth. So this is what you believe in. This is the choices that you made. This is not a right and wrong. I'm not saying there are no other ways. This is just my way. And it's not that others don't know what they're doing. Although you often think that sometimes it seems like, oh my God, I don't even know what they're thinking. Obviously there are sometimes that's the situations with the tough decisions. There are some things that are just more obvious where you identify areas that obviously you have the expertise and more. Your guys will step in and make it better. These are the easy things that you identify inside of the company where like this is like a slam dunk kind of improvement. Like I know things could be done better. We just know from experience, we know better.
Part of turnaround, I mean, you can't always just come into a new company and change it. Part of turnaround also has to happen in an existing role. So you've seen the graph go up like your investor told you he wanted to see, but then you're starting to see signs of the landscape is changing, something's shifting. We need to act now. So talk to me about that, how innovation sometimes happens when you're comfortable, has to happen when everything is, no, let's just milk it for a little bit longer if you're not paying attention to the horizon. So talk to me about your thoughts on that and in that position at the company at this point.
My gut tells me that that's a very, very challenging thing, especially when it comes to small companies. Because small companies have limited amount of resources. You want to be able to be profitable and sustainably profitable. And going after stuff that you think would get you to the next step is a risky one. There is a thought process that you should always have this, what you would call more of an innovation team. And depending on the size of the company, that innovation team would be small or bigger. There is very likely to be a minimum set of requirement for that to even make sense. Meaning you would have to invest a certain kind of amount for it to actually make sense. The type of people that you would involve in it would be different because you want it. That's just different people. Those are not the ones that sustain kind of the company and operators. And no, you want people to experiment and break and move. Right? We've dabbled in it. I don't know that I have the magic kind of formula. I think that having that kind of innovation commando, if you want to call it that way, is likely an important kind of thing.
Like an R&D budget, even in the smallest kind of company of
you can call it
this
R&D.
number of hours or time or cost should be allocated over here to new non-efficient
so
things.
Here's a challenge. Okay, I'm not so that's why I think that the commando team, I'm not sure can do also regular. Like I'm not sure that you can go and get an engineer and you get him to part of his time you do commando, right? Like it's like 20% of your hours innovation. There are some companies, right, that they allow people or they even mandate people that 20% of their time they want you want them to do something different. Is that because they want them to be more, just to have more fun? Feels to me like that's the reason, rather than that this is gonna reinvent the wheels. Maybe they think they do. I personally think that the type of people you want to reinvent things are different from the people that you want to operate and run the company. So that is my opinion.
Kind of like at a very high level, there's a switching cost there, right? So even if it's just one day a week that you have to turn off this efficiency side of your brain and turn on the creative side, you're saying that's going to be too hard for most people to actually produce something that changes the business model.
I think it's more than the changing cost. I think it's about the person, the way that they are comprised, like the type of person. It's just not. Like there are people that are really good at what they do. They're just, if you're gonna try to make them something that they're not,
they're going to be miserable too.
Example, do you know how the challenge of people that you would want to, they've been around, you want to congratulate them and you raise them to be a manager. That person is really good at their job. I'm gonna them to manage and that ends up to be a disaster because they were really good at this, and now you move them to be a manager and you completely kind of bomb, like they completely suck at it. They're not good managers. They're not happy in it. The people that are underneath them are unhappy. Everyone is unhappy. A disaster. But how do you avoid or identify it? It's also a question, because what is then the path? Sometimes people also want them to be promoted because it's good for their ego, it's good for their salaries and so on. But but then you promote them, and that ends up being a mistake. It's not the same thing of what I mentioned to you in terms of the commando team, but it has a similar principle to it. That means that, so, I would ideally want people that just fit to be a commando team, and some people that really are what good is to go and run the existing business.
All right, tell me about wrapping it up at eBaum's World at this company, and which now I assume, or I hope, that you've seen yourself as this turnaround strategist. What have you been doing, and how did you shift to doing this for smaller businesses, non-VC funded businesses? And yeah, talk to me just a little bit about where you're at today.
It first started with myself. It's not about others, it's about myself. I took some time after I stepped down as the CEO of Little Media, and I needed to recalibrate myself. You can call it, I did a turnaround for myself, but and I needed someone to help me on that. It's some of it has to do with getting to know who I am, what I like to do, what I believe I'm good at, and then how do I frame it. And it's been an interesting kind of process to it, because inside of it, it's not only what I'm good at and why I'm good at it, and what I love to do. It's also what do I need, to succeed. And that was like an honest kind of assessment of look, if you want me to succeed, what is it that I need? And there are certain kind of requirements for me that I need, and certain kind of things and people that I want to work with, certain kind of personalities. So this may seem obvious, but for me, if I need the space and I need a mandate, I need some time. Give me some time. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen for a month. Give me some time. Give me the space to operate. Give me the ability to kind of make the changes that I need to kind of make. I don't want to say move out of the way, but in a way, move out of the way. Not because of me, just because I need the ability to kind of do my thing. Then it's people. I like to work with people that are passionate, go-hearted inside of it. That's important to me. Various kind of things around it. In terms of myself, right? So I'm at the space that I'm kind of opening myself to those kind of opportunities where I'm best brought in to a place where it's a small to medium size kind of opportunity. I'm working with some as almost like a shadow kind of advisor to them, shadow kind of partner as a CEO. That's one of the things, because I learned that as a CEO myself, this is something that was really important to me. I need someone kind of to really talk to and advise with, and someone that doesn't really have, that doesn't have any emotional attachment to the below and to the above, that can just really be there as clean as possible. That's kind of where I stand right now. I'm extremely passionate. I love that. I love the coming into businesses. I love the challenge. I love people. I love working with people. I love making them, bigger than what they are, and stronger and more passionate and happier. I love the sustainable kind of environment for business. I love the challenge. I love the next step. And that's just what makes me happy. So I think the best thing for you to do is what makes you happy and what fulfills you and everything like that. And that's the journey that I'm at.
You said, let me in and get out of the way, kind of jokingly there. But I know one of the big shifts that you've had to adapt to here is, in small and medium-sized businesses, you're not just working with the CEO. In many cases, you're working with the owner, and they can't be removed by the board and let you step in and become the CEO. So talk to me about how you've approached that conversation, where the person who hires you, you look into the company and you're like, you're the problem here. You're, similar to your own situation, you're the reason this company has done well, and you're the reason that this company's no longer doing well. Because that's a very difficult conversation.
I think that's a very, very fair statement. First of all, I think this is about being sensitive to it, right? I think that in general, it's not their fault. People, everyone is doing their best, and over time, you get with clutter, just like in a house or anything like that, there's just clutter, and that clutter kind of interferes with the way that you kind of operate. That is probably a message that I will say. It's not that he is the problem or she is the problem, the founder is the problem. It's not that, it's not like, oh my God, you're the problem, get out of the way. It's not that. It's not about people moving because you're in my way. It is more of a statement where I need some space kind of to operate, and I need some space to look into things. And it could definitely be in collaboration. What is a problem though is if I would go into a space and I would be asked kind of to go and take it forward, but I will have all those types of conditions that I will have to operate with. No, you can't do this, or no, you can't do that, or this is the way that we do things here. Like, it's not that I can't operate with it. But I've learned that this really limits my ability, and again, like I said, there's no right and wrong, but there is a way that I kind of used to running things. And if it doesn't really happen, then it makes it really, really challenging for me to make a difference. And I think that is going to be true to anyone. Like, one of the things probably going to be the number one kind of thing is that you have to stay true to yourself and the way that you run things. It's not a right and wrong. You don't have to adapt. That if you're the leader in it and you feel like that's what needs to be there. Like, you can't be adaptable to others. Actually, I think the business have to shape after your own kind of identity. It's almost like the heart and soul of it. That's how it's going to run. And you find the people that are going to be right for you, and you're going to be right for them. And I think that's probably the conclusion to it. I'm not kicking aside founders. I'd like to work with them. I'd like to elevate what's best for them, but I also want to help them. I want to help them get out of, I'm assuming that they're also stuck. I'm assuming that they also want some sort of a change. I'm assuming that they're kind of running around their own tails. And I'm going to calm down. Let's look at things. What is the next step? Let's focus. I'm really going to be about what is important, what is noise. It's going to be a critical element inside of it. Everything that is outside of our priorities will be immediately flagged as noise, and I'm really like, let's calm down. This is not important. This is important.
That's good. I mean, sometimes it's just that outside perspective, to be honest with them, because nobody's ever told them they're the problem. But because you can't remove them, it's like, no, you do have to shift. You do have to be more firm. In some cases, your company is running itself, or your employees are running your company for you. But you're diagnosing it not to say, get out of the way, but how are you going to adapt knowing this information, right? Diagnosis before prescription.
Yeah, it depended on the situation, right? Sometimes there's owners who, are ready to move on. Or maybe there's owners that still want to be there. Again, if you're not really are ready for a change, it's just not going to happen, right? And I think each of us understand that and know that and have that from experience, not only in business and anywhere. Like, if you want to change, you got to be able. It needs changes coming from inside. That doesn't go from outside. Outside doesn't really change, really. It's a mask. It's a cover up. If you want to change, it has to be coming from the inside. Once you're open to it, then good things. Well, I'm not sure good things, but change will happen. Good or not is the eye of the beholder.
Yeah, Ori, this has been a great conversation. Before we move on to the lightning round, is there anything that you wanted to add that I haven't touched on or haven't asked?
No, I think that's it. I think it's important message to say that nobody is at fault for anything. Nobody's wrong, and everybody is. You would find yourself that you're in the same boat as others. It's almost like join the club is probably a good message to it. Everyone is struggling. It's not something that is unique to some individual. It's a struggle, and it's a journey that everyone goes through. It's not you're not at fault. It's not your problem. It's just sometimes something else is required.
Well, let's get into the lightning round then. Are you ready to go?
Yes.
All right. Coffee or tea, and how do you like it prepared?
And that's easy. I'm a coffee person. I would say, look, I'm lately on a cappuccino kind of thing, but I do prefer the Americano with a little bit of milk. It has to be a strong Americano, and I take it with sugar. So I drink coffee with sugar.
Okay. Pie or cake, and do you have a favorite kind?
Absolutely cake. I don't even know who likes pie, against cake. I don't really get that.
Oh man,
This
we
is
were doing
totally
so
cake
well.
but I'm chocolate kind of cake, and if could be kind of layers of chocolate mousse, that would be good. I'm very much a foodie, so that would have to be good. Like I would rather not eat a cake if it's not, like really well done. I would rather just not eat it.
Do you have a favorite holiday and why?
That's a tough one. I think I will still stick to Passover, which was a holiday that I liked when I was young. But I think I still like it because Passover has that Passover kind of dinner, and everybody kind of comes together and they're all preparing their own special kind of dish. You end up the evening when you're not able to move, but until then, you're very excited about what you're making, what everybody else is making, and hopefully you're able to enjoy it rather than being stuck. Yeah.
Do you consider yourself a morning person or a night person? And do you have a favorite routine?
Yeah, morning. So I love getting out of so I have to get out of the house, and I like to get my coffee at a coffee place, and I like working in a coffee place for, a couple of 2 or 3 hours. That would be my best morning kind of routine.
Is it just the buzz of the early morning coffee rush that helps your head with creativity and stuff like that? Being around other people like that?
I need to get out of the house. Like I hate being in the house too long. So to me, that's the best kind of morning routine. I do have a morning routine on Saturdays where I go to my CrossFit class at 8:30 in the morning. I love that. That's probably the best day of the week when it comes to 8:30 CrossFit.
What's a common belief among entrepreneurs that you would want to challenge?
I'm not sure this is a common belief. I do want to challenge entrepreneurship. To me, is not a doing, it's a being. I don't like the idea that entrepreneur has to be defined as someone who's building or creating a businesses. I think entrepreneurship is a spirit. So to me, entrepreneurs can definitely be people inside of the organization that they're just entrepreneurs. They don't have to be told. They want to be able to move kind of ahead. They're creative in what they do. That type of people inside of organizations are equally important as just those are just building businesses.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, that's the heart behind the art of succession is a lot of people think if you didn't found the company, you're not an entrepreneur. You're second or third generation owner. It's like, well, no, there's decisions that have to be made that are not same as last year or, what got us here won't get us there kind of thing. So yeah, I love it. That's awesome. What is one thing that you would want your successor to remember you for?
Probably that I did what I could. I did my best, stayed calm and collected, and did what I thought was right.
Ori, where are you finding creativity right now?
In pickleball. Yeah, I know that's a funny kind of element to it, but yeah, what can I say?
Played for the first time a couple months ago. We had a company picnic and we got trained on it, so I can definitely see the appeal.
I'm now obsessed, so I look at videos and YouTube videos, and I keep on analyzing what I had to do, what I need to do, and how do I need to respond, and even within games, I'm obsessed and stuff like that.
I get it. I made fun of a couple friends a couple years ago for being obsessed with it, but then I played once and I'm like, oh man, there's leagues and I could get into all sorts of stuff. So I definitely get the appeal. What do you have coming up in the next year that's got you really excited?
It's coming up a trip to Orlando, Disney, with both my older boys, with a 20-year-old and an 18-year-old. And it's something that I owe to the 18-year-old because we were at Orlando and Disney when he was younger, like at 5. And he still, when he thinks about Disney, still thinks about that. Where's that? Do you remember the Hollywood Studios? There's the guitar roller coaster. There's a Rolling Stones kind of guitar roller coaster, and the stuff that he remembers were all of us going on it, and he's like waiting outside.
He was too short.
Short and can't do it. So he is leaving. That's his, he just finished high school and he's leaving for university/college. That's something that I'm looking forward to. It's to correct that impression. I don't want it that this is what he will remember out of Disney in Orlando. It's this. So I'm on a mission to change that.
My only memory of Disney in Orlando is it's something my parents talked about my entire childhood. We'll go someday. And when did they end up going? They took my brother while I was in boot camp. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, it's my fault in the 25 years since then. I haven't gone back, but that's like that thing that's scarred in my brain. They took the younger favorite son while I was in listings. Where can people find out more about you?
Probably best is get in touch on LinkedIn. I am very much available over there. Just put a message over there so it's not going to get overlooked, and specifically over that. I'm very passionate, love helping, and if I can, it'll be an honor.
Well, thank you so much for being a guest, Ori. This has been a great conversation. I've appreciated it.
Thank you, Barrett. Appreciate it.
I hope that you've enjoyed this episode with Ori Elraviv as much as I have. Here on The Art of Succession, we have new interviews with business owners with their own succession stories, just like Ori's, twice a month. If you want to be a guest on the show, you can find our link for that down in the description below. If this episode has given you any insight into your own business or helped you think differently, I'd ask that you please share this with someone else. It really helps out the podcast to grow that way. And I want to thank you for watching The Art of Succession.